Good morning, children. It's Tuesday today, 21st of July, and we are having a civics class. So, welcome all for the third chapter of civics, Constitutional Design, Part 2. Children, after completing today's lesson or today's class, you all would be able to realize the need and importance of the Constitution. You would analyze the values that shape the constitutions in democratic states, and you will be even able to relate the freedom struggle with the political setup of South Africa and India. This will be your learning outcome, which you will be writing in the notebook. No need to write any learning objective of this. You will, at the end, after writing the question answers, you will write it there. Let's quickly recap what did we learn in our previous class. We learned that South Africa, denounced by the entire world till recently as the most undemocratic one, is now seen as a model of democracy. What made this change possible? It was the determination of the people of South Africa to work together to transform bitter experiences into the binding glue of a rainbow nation. Why do we need a constitution? To understand this, the South African example is a good way why we need a constitution and what do constitutions do. The oppressor and the oppressed in this democracy, new democracy, were planning to live together as equals. Who were the oppressors? The whites were the oppressors in South Africa, and who were the oppressed? The blacks were the oppressed. It was not going to be easy for them to trust each other. They had their fears. They wanted to safeguard their interests. The black majority was keen to ensure that the democratic principle of majority rule was not compromised. They wanted substantial social and economic rights. The white minority was keen to protect its privileges and property. After long negotiations, both parties agreed to a compromise. The whites agreed to the principle of majority rule and that of one person, one vote. They also agreed to accept some basic rights for the poor and the workers. The blacks agreed that majority rule would not be absolute. They agreed that the majority would not take away the property of the white minority. This compromise was not easy. How was this compromise going to be implemented? Even if they managed to trust each other, what was the guarantee that this trust will not be broken in future? The only way to build and maintain trust in such a situation is to write down some rules of the game that everyone would abide by. These rules lay down how the rulers are to be chosen in future. These rules also determine what the elected governments are empowered to do and what they cannot do. Finally, these rules decide the rights of the citizen. These rules will work only if the winner cannot change them very easily. This is what the South Africans did. They agreed on some basic rules. They also agreed that these rules will be supreme, that no government will be able to ignore these. This set of basic rules is called a constitution. Constitution making is not unique to South Africa. Every country has diverse groups of people. Their relationship may not have been as bad as that between the whites and the blacks in South Africa. But all over the world, people have differences of opinion and interests. Whether democratic or not, most countries in the world need to have these basic rules. This applies not just to governments. Any association needs to have its constitution. It could be a club in your area, a cooperative society, or a political party. They all need a constitution. Thus, the constitution of a country is a set of written rules that are accepted by all people living together in a country. Constitution is the supreme law that determines the relationship among people living in a territory and also the relationship between the people and government. A constitution does many things. First, it generates a degree of trust and coordination that is necessary for different kind of people to live together. Second, it specifies how the government will be constituted, who will have power to take which decisions. Third, it lays down limits on the powers of the government and tells us what the rights of the citizens are. And fourth, it expresses the aspirations of the people about creating a good society. All countries that have constitutions are not necessarily democratic, but all countries that are democratic will have constitutions. After the War of Independence against Great Britain, the Americans gave themselves a constitution. After the revolution, the French people approved a democratic constitution. Since then, it has become a practice in all democracies to have a written constitution. Making of the Indian Constitution. Like South Africa, India's constitution was also drawn up under very difficult circumstances. The making of the constitution for a huge and diverse country like India was not an easy affair. At that time, the people of India were emerging from the status of subjects to that of citizens. The country was born through a partition on the basis of religious differences. This was a traumatic experience for the people of India and Pakistan. At least 10 lakh people were killed on both sides of the border in partition-related violence. There were many problems. The British had left it to the rulers of the princely states to decide whether they wanted to merge with India or with Pakistan or remain independent. The merger of these princely states was a difficult and uncertain task. When the constitution was being written, the future of the country did not look as secure as it does today. The makers of the constitution had anxieties about the present and the future of the country. The path to constitution. Despite all these difficulties, there was one big advantage for the makers of the Indian Constitution. Unlike South Africa, they did not have to create a consensus about what a democratic India should look like. Much of this consensus had evolved during the freedom struggle. Our national movement was not merely a struggle against a foreign rule. It was also a struggle to rejuvenate our country and to transform our society and politics. There were sharp differences of opinion within the freedom struggle about the path India should take after independence. Such differences exist even today. Yet, some basic ideas had come to be accepted by almost everyone. As far back as in 1928, Motilal Nehru and 8 other Congress leaders drafted a constitution for India. Here you can see the picture of Motilal Nehru and 8 other members with him. In 1931, the resolution at the Karachi session of the Indian National Congress dwelt on how independent India's constitution should look like. Both these documents were committed to the inclusion of universal adult franchise. Second was right to freedom and equality, and to protecting the rights of minorities in the Constitution of Independent India. Thus, some basic values were accepted by all leaders much before the Constituent Assembly met to deliberate on the Constitution. The familiarity with political institutions of colonial rule also helped develop an agreement over the institutional design. The British rule had given voting rights only to a few. On that basis, the British had introduced very weak legislatures. Elections were held in 1937 to provincial legislatures and ministries all over British India. These were not fully democratic governments, but the experience gained by Indians in the working of the legislative institutions proved to be very useful for the country in setting up its own institutions and working in them. That is why the Indian Constitution adopted many institutional details and procedures from colonial laws like the Government of India Act 1935. Years of thinking and deliberation on the framework of the Constitution had another benefit. Our leaders gained confidence to learn from other countries, but on our own terms. Many of our leaders were inspired by the ideals of French Revolution, the practice of parliamentary democracy in Britain, and the Bill of Rights in the US. The socialist revolution in Russia had inspired many Indians to think of shaping a system based on social and economic equality. Yet they were not simply imitating what others had done. At each step, they were questioning whether these things suited our country. All these factors contributed to the making of our Constitution. Children, as I told you before, that the initial part of the chapter, that is 3.1, Democratic Constitution in South Africa, we had covered just because to have the connectivity with the other topics of the chapter. And 3.2 and 3.3. 3.2, why do we need a constitution, and 3.3, making of the Indian Constitution. We will assess you on this. So from these topics, I will be giving you few questions to write, but you will be reading the previous part of the chapter also for your better understanding. Now till we are having our next class, you will be reading and completing your work in the notebook. Till then, thank you children. Take care. Stay safe.